Hi everyone, and welcome back to the series where we solve data problems in both SQL and Pandas. Today's challenge is to find valid emails. We have a users table with the user ID and their email addresses. We need to display only valid emails, and the valid email has a lot of conditions, such as it contains exactly one @symbol, it ends with .com, the first part before the @symbol contains only alphanumeric characters and underscores, and the domain name should contain only letters. So let's try to solve this in SQL first. We write a select statement. In the where clause, we will implement all those conditions, and we will have to order by user ID. So now let's see the conditions. First condition, let's prove that the email address contains an @ and ends with .com. The % symbol means that we don't care which letter or which character is before the @ after the @ and it should end with .com. Next, we want to make sure that the email contains exactly one @, not more than one. So we write not like more than one @. Now we want to ensure that the part before the @ must not be empty. For this, we use the character index in order to find out what is the index of the @ in the email string. If the part before @ is not empty, then the @ itself should have an index higher than 1. Now we check the part before the @ if it contains only alphanumeric characters and underscore. First, we define an expression for alphanumeric characters and underscore only. Alphanumeric characters are the characters from lower a to lower z, large A to large Z, and from 0 to 9. And we need an underscore. Here we will use a double negative. A double negative means that one negative, a caret symbol, I have inside the expression, and the second negative I have when I compare some kind of expression, not like the expression on the right side. In this case, I have to use double negative. If I do not use double negative, which means if I would just use an email like this expression without a caret sign, SQL would interpret that as find any string that contains at least one valid character. And if you would have an email with the first part including a bad character, that would actually pass because it contains valid letters. By using the double negative, we strictly enforce that 0 invalid characters are allowed. So now let's define the left part, the part before the @ that should not contain any bad characters. So first, we find the index of the @ and we need the left side of the email until the last letter before the @. Now we need to make sure that domain name is not empty. The domain name starts after the @. So first we find the @ again. We calculate the length of the whole email and we subtract the index of the @ from the total length of the email. And since we know that the last 4 characters are .com, we also subtract 4 characters. And here we have the length of only domain name. In order to make sure that it's not empty, we want to compare that to 0. And the last condition, we need to make sure that the domain name part must contain only letters. So here we need this expression again, double negative, but in this case we care only about letters. In order to make sure that we look at the domain name only, we use the substring function. In the substring, first we indicate what exactly we are looking at. We are looking at the email column. Now we indicate where do we start. We start at the first character after the @. So here we have plus instead of minus, and we continue until the end of the domain name, and the domain name ends before .com. Now let's try this query. We successfully solved this problem in SQL. Let's move on to Pandas. Let's see if Pandas version is shorter. In Pandas, we first define the strict regex pattern based on the criteria. So let's define the pattern. The beginning of the email should be any letter or number or an underscore. Notice that the caret symbol in Pandas indicates the beginning of the string, while in SQL, it's a negative sign. So in Pandas, we start with the beginning of the email. We want letters from A to Z, from large A to large C, from 0 to 9, and we also allow an underscore. Then we have an @ symbol. After an @ symbol, we allow only letters. So I can copy paste it here. After the @ symbol, we have a domain name. And after domain name, the email should end with .com and the $ indicating the end of the string. Now let's filter the data frame using the regex pattern we just defined. So we take the data frame users and we need the email column. We use the method match and we match each email in the table or in the data frame with the pattern we just defined. We will save this into a new dataset called valid users. And we will return those valid users sorted by user ID. Now let's run this. We successfully solved this problem in Pandas. Which syntax did you prefer for this specific problem? SQL or Pandas regex? Write in the comments which one is easier.